here we are again. God, this takes forever. More work on the cylinder head porting. I have got to really start boogieing on this whole engine build thing if I have any hopes in hell of getting it done before No Name. Don't hold your breath for that, okay? I've pretty much already given up on the fact that it's going to be at No Name, but you know, Hail Mary attempt, maybe we'll actually get there. I don't know. We'll see. But now that I have exhaust gaskets, right, I was able to put the gasket on, holding it with 2 bolts, you know, either side. Spray painted the whole thing red. That way I now know exactly where my gasket line falls. See? Now, let me show you what I got. I have been working extensively on this exhaust port, and I believe this is now done. This one. I'm lowering expectations just a little bit on this whole project, but I want to get the exhaust done because that is like 99% of the entire head's performance. These ones anyway. That's the restriction right there. Now, if we take a look at stock one, we got this big hump here, we got that there, right? We got all this area here. Now, I did not touch the floor. Head's upside down. Did not touch the floor at all. See, left that alone, but I came and I widened it matching this port here. I still need to get some sort of sanding paper, rolls or something, and polish this all up, but that's the actual, you know, how much I'm taking out is done. As you can see, that is what we're left with. Far cry from where we started, right? I mean, look at just how much material we ended up taking out. But that's good, because that will give us a cleaner shot into the port. I mean, just take a look at this, right? Take a look there versus there. Much cleaner shot in directly into that port, which in this case is coming out, right? And we've already mocked up this gasket along with the headers, so we know that the headers have this much room up here on top for it, so it's not going to be a restriction with the actual header. As a matter of fact, we could take more out of the header because the header still has room and raise this even more, but we're just to this line. That's where I want it. And you can see without, you know, the gasket on there. There's our gasket port. Anyhoozle, so that is what I want to make all the rest of them look like. I've already started on this guy, you know, so I'm going to get these guys done. And that is all I'm doing with the exhaust, just that right there. Hoping and praying that that's not going to be too time consuming. It's going to be one of the more time consuming parts for sure, but hopefully I can actually manage to get this done, right? Now let's look at the chamber again. I haven't touched them, but we'll just, you know, recap what I'm thinking. So here's my chamber, all nice and smoothed out. All right, we got this whole ledge taken care of up here, so exhaust can actually flow into the valve, flow around the valve here, right? I got rid of this sharp edge right here. I blended that all out, okay? There's not enough area here to actually quench anything anyway, and frankly, we're not building we're using stock parts here. We're not milling anything down, so it's not going to be a quench motor regardless, so having this patch here is not doing us anything anyway. So we just want it to be nice, and so everything can just flow out of there into the combustion chamber nicely. We came and we got this right over here. Opened all this up, right? Didn't touch up here too much, but mostly here. Touched up here. Got rid of this big ridge. See that big ridge right there? Tried to get rid of most of that, okay? So I spent a lot of time on this chamber specifically right here. I'm going to try to mimic them on the rest of them, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to spend quite as much time as I did on this one. Maybe now that I've gotten one done, the rest will go a little faster. I don't know. This head I could mock directly off this chamber because they're all the same in the cylinder bore. The other head we're going to have to actually come in and scribe and figure out exactly where our lines are, because, well, we discovered last time that there's a shift between the two heads. One's shifted a little this way and the other shifted a little that way. There's more meat on the exhaust side on this head, and a little more meat on the intake on the other head, I believe. Or it might be the other way around, I don't remember. But that's where that's at. As far as the bowls are concerned, I've started working on this intake. God, that's just taken forever though. Yeah, I'm gonna see what I can do. I really want to get this intake thing down, because that's probably the biggest restriction in the actual intake. The exhaust, as you can see, we're milling down there, and I've already started on that side. So we're just getting rid of those valve guide bosses and working on the intakes. Now, on the intake side itself, you know, I'm looking at it, and aside from getting those valve guide bosses down, or whatever they're called, right? Aside from doing that, I think I'm going to leave the intakes alone. Take a look. I started working a little bit on this, what is it, the pushrod bulge here. Worked a little bit on that one. I might just copy what I did here on the rest of them, but I don't think I'm going to spend too much time on the intakes. There is stuff that you can do. You can open these up. I don't think it's going to be necessary for what we're doing with this engine. Remember, these are just something to throw on there while, you know, just to get something up and going. We just want it to be a little bit better than it was, right? We're not looking to get ultimate power out of these things, because we still have the AFR nice aluminum Renegade heads that are going to be better than these no matter what we do to them. So yeah, I think we're going to just leave the intakes alone and just call it a day on that side of things. But once I get as far as I'm going to get on them, we'll take them to the machine shop. We'll get them hot tanked, cleaned up. We'll get just a valve job on them, just very, very basic. Basically just lap the valves in. And then paint and throw it on the engine. Now the engine, that's the next topic of discussion here. This is this guy right here. Oh, technically minus the tunnel ram, because tunnel ram's not going to be on this engine here, unfortunately. I need carburetors for it, and I don't have that kind of funds right now. But anyhoozle, the engine we gotta start assembling, because, well, literally there's nothing in it right now. And as you can plainly see, she is literally about as empty as it can get. So we gotta start actually doing something with this now. We have the crankshaft. That's our stroker crank. That's for the next engine. That is our stock crank, fresh from the machine shop. It's just been sitting here for months, so that's good to go. I can put that in really right now if I need assembly lube though, and a torque wrench. Well, before I can put any of that stuff in. But the crank will go in. We have the pistons from Nick McMahon. It's just sitting here, still got to get cleaned up and put on some rods. We have rods over here on the old pistons, these guys here. So we'll get these pressed off, pressed on to the new pistons, and that should be good. Then we'll have a short block actually assembled, which, well, I'm not gonna lie, having a short block would really take some of the heat off this whole situation right now. McMahon also provided piston rings. That's what those things are called. So we're gonna have to gap these things. We gotta put them in the cylinder and, you know, square it up with the piston and put 30, 40, 50, 60 thousandths, you know, clearance on them, because it's going to be a nitrous motor. I want to spray a lot of nitrous on this thing and have it live. So piston ring gap is a biggie on that. Probably 30,000 is what I'm guessing we'll probably stick with. Alright, well, this is the other head here. Yeah. This part really sucks. We gotta get this paint off somehow. I think it will probably come off when they hot tank it, possibly, maybe. If it doesn't, then we're just gonna keep it on because, you know, if it doesn't come off then, it's not coming off. It's Rust-Oleum Rusty Metal Primer. Me and the kiddo just literally painted this head up so we could see how the paint looks. There is oil, there is grime, there is, I mean, especially around here, it's just, we just caked it on, just slathered the stuff on. I don't think it's gonna survive inside the engine. I really don't. And this thing was never going to be used. That, as far as I was concerned, these things were junk, so that's why we did how we did it, but oh well. Let's take, do we have another one? I think we do. Let's take a header gasket and match it up to these headers now to see what we got. And that is our fit gasket onto header. These aren't the exact headers we're going to use, but it's pretty close to any typical header, I would imagine. We got just a little bit up here that we're going to have to... That's actually an overhang right there. Yeah, that undercuts right there. So, basically we're just going to do the same thing we did with the heads and just kind of spray it down, and anywhere up top that it hits, we're going to eliminate. We'll basically kind of square these off a little bit where it needs it. Yeah, just as a reminder, that's how much we had on the bottom there, and how much we have up on top there that we got rid of, all that up there. So I'm just gonna take that and swap it right to here. Yeah, good. As far as the rest of the stuff that goes into building that engine, we have all the old lifters and stuff, so we're just gonna reuse that. Oh good, the bag is ripped. Excellent. Perfect. So we're just going to reuse those. We'll need to get new springs, new valve springs, because we're going to put a slightly bigger cam in it. The cam, I'm tossing back and forth on what cam to put in it. I don't know. I have an idea of what I want, but then again, what I want might... I got oil all over myself now. That's fantastic. What I want might have to wait for the next engine, because there's no real point in, like, you know, going all out trying to match cam specs and do this and do that with this thing, because it's the middle engine. All it has to be is better than what we have now and be able to handle nitrous. So other parts, I mean, we got valves, you know, from the head, just basic valves. That's pretty much all I got though. I mean, I got the stock oil pump, which I guess we could put back in. I mean, I have the stock, oh yeah, I have the stock push rods, so we can use that. Ooh. Oh, that would be good actually. Yeah, I got the stock push rods. I got the rockers for the heads. So valve train is actually not that big of an issue. Oh, good. The timing cover, I think I'm going to steal off the other block that's already in the car, because I still want my dipstick to be up front. I don't want my dipstick to be off to the side like the newer models are. And I completely destroyed that timing cover when I was getting it off the engine. It's completely warped. She's got all of her keychains. Jeez Louise, you got a lot of those things, kiddo.
It was only for $11.
Yeah, $11. I could use that to buy a quart of oil at this point. Everything is getting very expensive. Okay, so that's it for the engine build. All right, that's where we're sitting for the engine build. There's only two other things that I got on my mind right now besides the engine build, getting it done, right? And that's the right there, the single exhaust. I want to get that built for No Name. No muffler, no nothing, just something that I can put on at No Name Nationals and run it there and see how it works. Because I think the single exhaust is going to really pick up the bottom end and possibly even a little up top too. I think it's going to really tying the two banks together and having them through one pipe and just having a greater pull on each exhaust and each, especially if we don't get, because the exhaust ports really aren't good on the heads that are out there. They're probably looking pretty much similar to those E7 stock before we did anything to them. So, all the help we could get trying to get, exhaust out of those tiny little ports, the better at that point. And I think the single exhaust is going to do it really well. Point number 2, and this is a crucial one. The exhaust is really optional. This one is not. I need to figure out my timing situation, my distributor situation. I have been fighting. That is the biggest Achilles heel to this whole car right now, is the timing. Because the car has a ridiculous amount, the distributor in the car has a ridiculous amount of mechanical advance built into it. I mean, I set the thing at 10 degrees before top dead center, and I swear to God, it's up to 38, 40 something, up on top. And really, I would want it to be closer to 32, 34 total, but that would bring me way down. I couldn't even, I wouldn't even idle, so it would be so low. I need to limit the mechanical advance. Need to limit it somehow. I don't have a welder. Even if I did, I don't know how to weld very well at all. I took welding 2 years in a row in high school, and some people just don't have knack for things. And apparently welding was not my. I could arc weld, stick weld. I could do that, but I can't. I can't do that to the distributor, obviously. That was the only thing I could weld with a stick. So what I think we're gonna do, idea roaming around inside my head at the moment, with the timing, seeing as we can't find a meaningful way to limit it, right? Limit the timing. So we're just gonna lock it out, okay? I'm going to go in there, I'm going to dig the 2 springs out, get rid of them, fully advance it, wire it shut. So that way it doesn't move. In the fully advanced position. That way the phasing is right when it gets up to higher RPMs. We're just going to lock this thing out, okay? Just stop messing around with it. We're just going to lock it. Then, I believe what we're going to do is we're going to actually add vacuum advance on top of the locked out timing. We're going to run it. We're going to figure out how much vacuum advance there is right now. Because I have no idea. The pod is not adjustable. I'm going to get an adjustable vacuum pod at some point, but we're just going to see how much that thing gives off at the moment. See how much it gives and how much vacuum it requires to do it. Once we know that, then we can calculate exactly how much, timing the thing has at any given point. Like max timing, what is it at? If it's at like $3,000, 3,500 cruising down the highway, and it's fully vacuumed in, what is the timing? Because just so long as we don't go past that timing, we're safe. So we will just limit the vacuum advance to that point, right? So we'll have our full mechanical locked out where we want it, and then just our vacuum will be able to give timing, take timing away as we're cruising. That way we still get good gas mileage, ish, and we get our locked out timing. Okay, so that's the plan. That's what we're gonna shoot for. I'll catch you next time.